The Missouri Tigers got a set of back-to-back news in the transfer portal earlier today on Sunday afternoon. We get the news that former Arizona State and LSU center Shawn Phillips is transferring into the program, and that former four-star freshman big man Peyton Marshall will be leaving. Um, you know, it's a net no loss no gain type of thing as far as the position goes. Gonna look at what Phillips brings to the table, what Marshall leaving means, and then where the rotation stands. So first off with Shawn Phillips, junior from Dayton, Ohio, averaged 5.4 points, 5.2 rebounds per game, as well as 1.1 blocks. Most minutes per game that he's played in his career. Started off at LSU, then made the move to Arizona State. First things that he was on the better side of and where he excels. Obviously, I should mention the 7 foot, 245 pound frame. So he is a true natural center, with no perimeter upside, which I'm not saying that is a bad thing at all. I don't think it is. Not every big man, not every player that needs on the floor needs to shoot. You look at lineups last year, Josh Gray, wasn't a perimeter threat, and that wasn't necessarily a liability. So obviously scoring around the rim is his main thing, and where he gets there the most is on pick and rolls, and that is when he's the best. I could really envision a pick and roll duo of him and Ant Robinson or Sebastian Mack or T.O. Barrett, but really Ant Robinson. I like what he can do in the lob game. So I think this is a good addition in that sense. The rim running and that sort of thing. I think game speed, just for Phillips in general, is going to make a big difference. Getting up and down the court, in a faster manner, and then as far just moving off the ball on offense and defending as well. So positives there. I like his positioning. And how he gets open and he could seal down low. I also think that's a big deal. He just kind of has a feel for the game when it comes to getting open. Just finding gaps in the offense, and when, someone drives to the rim, finding that space where the guard could dump it off to him, that sort of thing. I think that's where he's going to excel the most, as well as the pick and roll game. You know, good sh average shot blocker, right? 1.1 blocks per game, so nothing out of this world, but still solid. And then the 5.2 rebounds per game is, again, he's a solid rebounder. Average 3.3 his sophomore season, then 2.2 his freshman season. So he's showing growth there. You'd imagine that the minutes per game and the role he's played for LSU and Arizona State are going to be similar. And then another positive is obviously the experience. He has Power 5 experience. He started at LSU and obviously didn't play that much, but now he has some Power 5 experience under his belt, but two solid starting seasons, I guess, at Arizona State. So positives there. The negatives, and I kind of mentioned this, he can't really score from anywhere else. He doesn't have much of a touch on the jump shot. The floater isn't quite there. Not really a back you down type of guy. He can do that and will do that and needs to be able to do that. So that's an important skill set for him that he's going to have to develop a little bit. But it's not his strongest suit when he's moving downhill and can catch and go right up. That is where he's the best. When he's backing guys down, he can do it, but definitely needs some growth in that department. And then his footwork when he screens, I notice is a little bit sloppy. Gets called for a lot of moving screens, and then turnovers in general seem to be an issue. Not a guy that is the greatest at passing out of the post. He averaged 1.4 turnovers per game this last season and 1.2 the one before that. Those are awfully high numbers for a center who is playing under 20 minutes per game. So you're going to want him to clean up the passing a little bit. When it comes to that. But if you give him the ball and let him just go right up with it or get him in a lob situation, I think he could be really successful. I mean, it's an interesting conversation to be had as far as losing Marshall and gaining Phillips, because you're gaining the experience. What the outlook for Marshall was moving forward, it's hard to tell. As far as one of the big men leaving, obviously you bring in Northweather and now Shawn Phillips, so it's not a shock that one of those guys leaves. Of Marshall or Trent Burns, skill set wise, it makes sense for Marshall to leave. With what they're getting in Northweather, who can space the floor a little bit better, but Phillips is a traditional big man, much like Marshall is. What are they losing at Peyton Marshall? 7 foot, 300 pound big man, former four-star recruit, appeared in 22 games, only 4.4 minutes per game, around a point per game, 1.1 rebounds. He is a crafty passer, and he's just a fun energy guy. I think that will probably be the biggest loss immediately. It's not unreasonable to say his role would have increased a little bit, this coming season, but not significantly where we were going to see him truly get a bigger influx in minutes. So take that for what it's worth. It seems like a bit of a positive when you analyze Marshall leaving and Phillips joining, just based on the experience at the Power Five level. Phillips has proven, Marshall not yet, but obviously it's the debate of potential over production, which Phillips has to an extent. So that's all I have for you guys today on the addition and subtraction for the Missouri Tigers in the transfer portal. Interesting moves, maybe not the ones that people are exactly looking for right now. I will make sure to have that all broken down for you here coming up soon about what the Tigers still need to do in the transfer portal, who they're reaching out to, and maybe some shortcomings of that. So that's all I have for you today on Masters Sunday with Peyton Marshall exiting the program, entering the transfer portal, and Arizona State big man Shawn Phillips Jr. joining in.